Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How's everything going today? Alexander Robinson here, Alex the SEO, owner of Smart Alex SEO and WholesalePropertyMarketing.com. Coming to you on another beautiful day in good old Las Vegas. I mean, technically it's winter. I have family back east in the south that are just being harassed by cold weather and snowstorms, things like this. And poor little old me, I have to bundle up in my short sleeve shirts just to leave the house every day. But just 1 second. Had to wait for that awesome motorcycle to go by. But today wanted to come to you guys and discuss what the real estate game calls war zones. I came across this in a group of mine, in a group that I participate in on Facebook, with a person, actually a new client of mine, asking if war zones were a good place to invest. Now, my automatic and immediate answer to that was yes, but at the same time, there's certain things that you have to pay attention to before you actually invest in this area considered a war zone. Because see, what you have to understand is this. First of all, it's called a war zone for a reason. It goes because the police activity is high. Certain crime rates are higher than other parts of the city. Now, if you're from a place like me, I was actually raised on a farm in Houston, Texas, with Sugar Land, Texas, actually. But I was also raised a large chunk of my life in Los Angeles. And if you're from Los Angeles, you know exactly how the city operates, the places that you can and can't go sometimes. You know the areas, you know which ones are good, you know which ones are bad. But the first thing we have to understand is people still live in war zones. This is what it is. Some are worse than others, but people still live there. Now, when you actually want to invest in a war zone, you have to take certain things into consideration. Now, what I take into consideration is this. First of all, I take into consideration the crime. The crime can be a major hindrance for the simple fact that you don't want people to move into a situation where they're immediately put in danger. That could reflect on you bad, and it could come back to haunt you in a real way, especially legally. The second thing I take into consideration is how close things are. Is it in walking distance to schools, shopping, places where people could pay their bills, things like that? Is it close to public transportation, major streets? Is it close to freeways? Things like this definitely make a difference. Though these people live in war zones, they still have to get places. They still have to shop. They still have to live. They still have to travel. They still have to get to and from work. And those are things that are very important to my decision making when looking to invest in a war zone, or when I receive a client who's actually thinking of investing in a war zone. So, even things like, what type of utilities they can receive in these war zones. What type of television service, DirecTV, Dish, or, whatever they choose. What type of providers actually come to the area. People look for these things. Now, it's one thing to have someone move into a war zone and everything is fine, and then crime starts to escalate on another level. Because you should definitely do one thing. You should always be honest about the area. Tell them as much as you possibly know about the types of activities that go on. Because You know, sometimes the money is just not that important all the time. Plain and simple, it really isn't. And by not being honest and straight up front, you can ultimately lose out on money because they'll either move out because they can't take it, or in some cases, they may actually get to sue you because you didn't let them know how dangerous the area actually was before they actually moved into it. And so I don't know how many areas around the U.S. actually do that, but you know, you are in some places definitely obligated to let people know about the situation in the area. And then there's another thing where you know that there's crime going on. You know that these things are bad, and someone's house is broken into, and you know that there are high break-ins in the area at the moment, but you never ever said anything. That's not cool. Like I said, that could definitely come back to haunt you, and that's not what you want at all. So, war zones overall, you know, they're bittersweet. They have love and hate, pros and cons to them. But depending on the activity in the area and depending on the type of crime that goes on, trust or believe, people are still going to move there. Overall, people still have common sense, and they pretty much know what they're getting themselves into as well. You just want to cover yourself, you know, plain and simple. It's not about the money like that when it comes to war zones exclusively. Because like I said, you can easily lose out on your money if there's something about the place or the neighborhood that's just totally unacceptable to the people. Because first and foremost, look, once you go into a war zone, you start looking at particular places, you can look around you, and common sense will tell you that this is not the most affluent, this is not the most kept up area of this city. You know, common sense will tell you that, plain and simple. And if you choose to move there, that's your choice. That's your option. You didn't have to move there. But at the same time, you did. So people know what they're doing. But war zones overall could be very profitable. People stay there for long periods of time, lots of times, most of the time. And as long as you're a good landlord, you keep things up, you know, a lot of people don't complain. A lot of people go ahead and pay their rent on time. A lot of people appreciate that they have a place to live, that they live in an area where they can walk to certain things that they need, grocery stores, convenience stores, schools for their children, places to pay their bills, you know, stuff like that. Things that make their overall lives go round. They appreciate the fact that they're not that far from public transportation, you know, the public bus system or the train, if there's trains running in that particular city. They're happy that they don't have to travel far to get to a freeway, or that they live near main arteries to get them to and from where they're actually going in the city. So these are just some things to take into consideration when you're thinking of investing in a war zone. Now, you know, don't do it blindly, because there are things that you need to know. I mean, in all honesty, there are a few things that I particularly pay attention to. I pay attention to the gang activity. I pay attention to abnormal, extremely high crime rates. I pay attention to the murder rates. I pay attention to the rape rates. I pay attention to the break-in rates. You know, these things can really affect, a person's life. And you have to take them into heavy consideration. It's not just about the money. It really isn't. So, yeah, that's my spew on that for this, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, before you go ahead and invest in that war zone, take a look at this video and think about it. This is Alexander Robinson here, signing off, telling you to stay positive, progressive, prosperous, and profitable. And always keep moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. Love and peace. I'm out.